probably made that up. But anyway, Ira Taylor may or may not be on NPR. We don't know. In the interview, he talks about what attracted him to the character of Eric Draven. And these are quotes from the interview. This is a quote from the interview. So this is him talking. There's this wonderful quote from the novel The Sheltering Sky. Because we do not know when we will die, we get to think of life as an inexhaustible well, and yet everything happens only a certain number of times. How many more times will you remember a certain afternoon of your childhood that is so deeply a part of you, being you can't even conceive of your life without it? Perhaps 4 or 5 times more, perhaps not even that. How many more times will you watch the full moon rise? Perhaps 20, and yet it all seems limitless. You tend to take a great deal for granted because you feel like you're going to live forever. It's only if you lose a friend or maybe have a near-death experience that many events and people in your life suddenly attain real significance. When you take into account the fact that that could have been the last time I would ever see that person or do something so mundane as go out to dinner, this is where this character is coming from. He realizes how precious each moment of his life is. And I thought to myself, if I were given the opportunity after a year of having been dead to come back, who would I want to see? That person would be my fiancée, Eliza, because I'm getting married after the film. I know. And the thing about Eric, the character, is the one person he would want to share this with isn't there anymore, and that's the tragic element of his character. Brandon and Eliza would have been married on April 17th, less than 3 weeks after his tragic death. And that's the story of the accident on the set of The Crow. How fucked up is that? No, it's just awful. And if you see like him in interviews, he's so happy to be finally doing this movie. I watched some interviews of him previously, and they all just wanted to talk to him about his dad and martial arts.
He was trying to branch out from that. Was he a martial artist? Did you already say that?
I did not say that, and yes, he was. Okay. His dad taught him, and then I think he said he worked with another guy that worked with his dad, and that's how this martial arts type has carried on.
Had he done martial arts movies?
Yes.
Prior to? Okay.
He did several. I think one of them was called like Rapid Fire and maybe Showdown in Little Tokyo. Several movies that he had either bit parts or, fairly big parts in, but they were all martial arts movies.
So this was his big break.
This was his big break, yeah. And he was in the prime of his life. And there have been stories over the years that his death is in the film. I cannot find any merit to that. There was a rumor there's a big shootout scene in the film where he's up on a table and several people are shooting at him with blanks, or I guess blanks. But that is not the scene. That was like the old... It's not an old wives' tale. I don't think you can call it an old wives' tale in the 90s. That was the... Unless it was the 1890s.
But urban legend? Is that,
yes.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
Is that the proper
term? I don't know. I mean, it works.
Okay.
So it was an
urban legend. Okay.
But...
Not an old wives' tale.
No. And I didn't look up... maybe I should have looked up how Eliza's doing now. But I mean, this was 1994, so... I'm really bad at math, but that's a long time ago. So she's... And it really struck me because he was born in like 65, so he would be my mom's age.
Oh, okay.
But he'll always be...
28.
28. Which is... That's kind of a morbid yet interesting thought. But yeah. Did you learn anything that you didn't know previously? Or what do you think about the story? Tell us your thoughts, Matissa. I should probably just state here also that we do both have some level of anxiety. So even doing a podcast is a big step.
It is. I have terrible social anxiety. And so yeah, this is a big step for me. And then being asked questions just on the spot that I don't have answers to.
Yeah, and here I am thinking that I'm Sally Jesse Raphael. I'm like,
why are you interrogating me?
I'm not a co-op. I'm not a co-op. But yeah, I think we would also love for you guys to write us and tell us about your morbid curiosities, or if there's something that you just heard my dog walk literally all over Matissa's paper. So just ignore that. But yeah, we really need to set up an email. We do have an email. We have an email. It's magnificentlymorbid@gmail.com. So send us in any kind of, if you have a request, that would be great. Yes. If you want us to cover anything.
Or if you have corrections, like if we've said something that's wrong, because like we said, we are not professionals. Our sources aren't peer-reviewed, so we are not claiming to be professionals or completely knowledgeable of what we are talking about. So if we're wrong, please let us know. And
I did not get my information for the crow from a peer-reviewed scientific article. As shocking as that may be, most of my sources came from Wikipedia, because, I mean, if it's on the internet, it can't be wrong, right? So I must have said everything right. I mean, that would be, baseline for me, saying everything right, never saying anything wrong. I'm just kidding. That's the furthest from baseline that I would ever be. I say things wrong all the time. Also, I have vocal fry. I hear it coming out, so if that's something that bothers you, then I don't know what to tell you. This is not the podcast for you. Oh, we also have an Instagram, and we're just gonna post random things there. I don't know what it'll be. Oh, maybe we'll post our massive taping setup.
Yes.
It's definitely not
state of the art.
Yes, it's state of the art. We went to Hollywood and got the best audio visual people in the world to help us with this. We did not look on Reddit for the cheapest equipment possible. That's not
at all what
happened. What's Reddit? I don't even know. The Lord and Savior Reddit. That's my Lord and Savior. I'm not making fun of religion. Please don't come for us. Please don't come for us in the comments or an email. And we're really sensitive. So if you're mean, then just
don't make fun of our accents.
Please
don't.
We're going to cry.
We will cry.
We're going to come on air and loudly, awkwardly cry. And that's going to be our next episode. If we get any mean comments. Just the whole time. Not even that sweet little cry. No. It's going to be like the Kim Kardashian crying face multiplied by 1,000 with the most annoying sounds you've ever heard in your life.
Okay.
So, this is our first episode. Hopefully we haven't bored anyone to tears, and hopefully you want to listen to the second and the third and the fourth, and yeah, who knows? Maybe a few years from now we'll be the most famous podcasters in the world. But until then, we're not going to hold our breath. But anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you on our next episode. And stay morbid. No, that's not going to work at all.
We'll work on this.
We're going to work on it.
We're going to work on it, okay?
We promise.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.